1,000 years ago, in the heart of the Middle East, a new empire was born, built not by kings hungry for power, but by warriors guided by faith, justice, and unity. This was the Ayyubi Empire, a dynasty that rose from the vision of Nur ad-Din Zangi and the courage of one man who became a legend, Salahuddin Ayyubi, or Saladin. Their story is one of faith against fear, unity against chaos, and humanity in the face of war. This is the history of the Ayyubi Empire and how it shaped the Muslim world for centuries. Before the Ayyubi dynasty, the Muslim world was divided. The once powerful Seljuk Empire had begun to fragment. Rival rulers fought over land, while the Crusaders from Europe controlled large parts of the Holy Land, including Jerusalem, taken in 1099. The people of Syria, Egypt, and Palestine suffered under both foreign invasions and corrupt local leaders. In this darkness, one man rose to bring back order and faith, Nur ad-Din Zangi, a noble Turkic ruler from Aleppo. Nur ad-Din dreamed of a united Muslim front, strong enough to drive out the Crusaders and restore justice. And among those who served him was a young Kurdish general, Salahuddin, whose destiny would soon unfold. Salahuddin Ayyubi was born in 1137 in Tikrit, in modern-day Iraq. His family was Kurdish, respected for their honesty and loyalty. As a boy, Salahuddin studied religion, the Quran, and military science. He later served under his uncle Shirkuh, a powerful general in the army of Nur ad-Din Zangi. Together, they were sent to Egypt, a land rich in culture but divided by internal politics between the Fatimids and the Crusaders. After years of campaigns, Salahuddin's uncle died in 1169, and Nur ad-Din appointed Salahuddin as the new vizier of Egypt. He was only 31 years old, but in just a few years, his leadership, honesty, and faith won the loyalty of soldiers and scholars alike. Salahuddin's first mission was to strengthen Egypt from within. He ended the weak Fatimid Caliphate and restored loyalty to the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad, bringing Egypt back to Sunni Islam. He reorganized the army, reformed taxes, and used wealth to build madrasas, mosques, and hospitals. He treated his people fairly and respected scholars and scientists, making Cairo a center of learning once again. When Nur ad-Din Zangi passed away in 1174, Salahuddin inherited not only his master's mission, but also his dream, to unite the Muslim world and liberate Jerusalem from the Crusaders. Slowly, Salahuddin brought Syria, Egypt, Yemen, and parts of Mesopotamia under one rule, forming what became the Ayyubi Empire. For the first time in decades, the Muslim lands stood united under a single leader. The Crusaders had ruled Jerusalem for nearly 88 years. But in 1187, Salahuddin launched his greatest campaign, one that would change history forever. At the Battle of Hattin, near the Sea of Galilee, Salahuddin's army faced the Crusader forces led by King Guy of Jerusalem. The battle was fierce, but Salahuddin's strategy, discipline, and faith led him to a decisive victory. Most of the Crusader army was destroyed. Just a few months later, on October 2nd, 1187, Salahuddin entered Jerusalem peacefully. There was no revenge, no massacre, no bloodshed. He opened the city to all Muslims, Christians, and Jews. He ordered his men to clean and restore Al-Aqsa Mosque, where the Crusaders had once desecrated it. This act of mercy shocked Europe and inspired respect even among his enemies. The loss of Jerusalem brought about the Third Crusade, led by three of Europe's greatest kings, Richard the Lionheart of England, Philip II of France, and Frederick Barbarossa of Germany. 4 years, Salahuddin's forces fought the Crusaders across the Holy Land. Despite fierce battles, neither side could completely defeat the other. Eventually, in 1192, Salahuddin and Richard agreed to a truce. Jerusalem would remain under Muslim control, but Christian pilgrims were allowed to visit freely. It was a treaty built not on pride, but on mutual respect. Even Richard called Salahuddin a man of honor and courage. Salahuddin passed away in 1193, just 1 year after the peace treaty. When he died, he left behind only a few coins because he had given away his wealth to the poor. But his legacy was far greater than gold. The Ayyubi dynasty he founded continued to rule for nearly a century, governing Egypt, Syria, and Yemen. They built schools, hospitals, and fortresses, They supported scholars like Ibn Shaddad, who recorded Salahuddin's life, and architects who shaped the skyline of Cairo and Damascus. Even after the Ayyubids declined, their reforms paved the way for the powerful Mamluk Empire, which carried their torch for centuries. The story of the Ayyubi Empire is not just about battles, it's about values. It teaches that real power comes from unity, justice, and mercy. Salahuddin's leadership reminds us that victory without compassion is empty, and that faith and wisdom can rebuild nations where swords cannot. From the plains of Hattin to the walls of Jerusalem, the Ayyubids showed the world that honor and belief can shape history. Their light still shines, 1,000 years later. Fade out with visuals of Al-Aqsa Mosque at sunrise, soft Arabic music, and the text, the Ayyubi Empire, faith, unity, legacy.